in that lawsuit, we learned that his head of security while he's running the sexual blackmail ring is this guy named Fahim Muhammad, who before working for Diddy was the head of security for Michael Jackson when he was only 21. And he was one of the first people on the scene when Michael Jackson died.
Y'all, the feds are not here to play with Diddy because these folks are coming at him with everything they've got. Some new information just leaked that kind of suggests that Diddy allegedly knows more about Prince and Michael Jackson's deaths, and it is messy. See, the timing of this is pretty interesting because Diddy's trial is starting in a couple of weeks, and the feds are trying to tie up all the loose ends. There are reports that they are looking to bring more charges against Diddy or bring more evidence to force him into pleading guilty, which might be the end of the road for him. So, what exactly did Diddy do to Prince and MJ? And what dirt exactly did they have on him? Let's break this down. Chilly. The more we think we know about Diddy, the less we actually know about him. And these new allegations that he might be hiding something about the passing of two of the greatest legends in music are nothing short of shocking. But what exactly does he have to do with Michael Jackson's passing? Well, remember when Kanye West publicly accused his former trainer, Harley Pasternak, of attempting to have him institutionalized, and most people dismissed it as just another one of Kanye's outbursts? What many didn't know is that Harley Pasternak actually has a background in military intelligence with the Canadian Armed Forces. That detail alone raised eyebrows, but now there's growing speculation that Michael Jackson may have had a similar figure in his orbit, specifically Diddy's former chief of security, Fahim Muhammad. Fahim's name appeared multiple times in the lawsuit filed by producer Lil Rod against Diddy. According to the claims, Fahim allegedly acted as a key intermediary between Diddy and law enforcement, helping shield Diddy from legal consequences while facilitating the operation of his alleged criminal activities. And that's only the beginning, because the truth runs much deeper. There are claims that Fahim Muhammad may have had ties to government intelligence, raising even more questions about his role behind the scenes. When producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones filed his explosive lawsuit against Diddy and several co-defendants, he made a number of serious allegations, including claims that Diddy's head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had deep connections to law enforcement and played a crucial role in helping conceal Diddy's alleged criminal behavior. However, according to the lawsuit, Diddy didn't personally select Fahim. Instead, Lil Rod claimed that Fahim was placed in that position by Diddy's influential industry allies, who allegedly employed and empowered him to act as a fixer, someone who could quietly handle problems and, when necessary, pay off law enforcement to avoid legal troubles. Lil Rod's lawsuit states Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or California. Here's where things get interesting. It turns out that Fahim Muhammad was also Michael Jackson's head of security and was present the night Michael passed away. Even more surprising, during Dr. Conrad Murray's trial, Fahim testified that he had only started working as Michael's chief of security about 10 months before his death.
At that point in time, how long had you worked security for Mr. Jackson?
Approximately 10 months.
Okay. And what were your responsibilities?
I was the chief of his security, so my responsibilities ranged from making sure his house was protected, making sure his children's were protected, and making sure his day-to-day activities and movement was all safe and planned and mapped out.
But let's take a step back for a moment. Fahim had just finished college with a business degree when he was brought on as Michael Jackson's head of security. He was only 20 or 21 years old at the time. So, are we really supposed to believe that Michael Jackson, one of the most famous and private figures in the world, personally chose a 20-year-old with no real security experience to protect him and lead his entire security team? Now, here's where things get even more unbelievable. Independent journalist Ian Carroll recently investigated the connection between Diddy and Michael Jackson. According to his findings, Fahim might not have been hired by Michael at all. Instead, it's possible that someone else brought Fahim in just like they hired Dr. Conrad Murray, without Michael's full knowledge or approval.
For most of Jackson's career, his head of security was Bill Bray, who was his mentor and basically his father. And the two were extremely close. Bill ran his security until he was 70 when he retired, and Jackson continued to pay his medical bills until he died at age 80. Pause if you want to read that. But then once Bill retired, Jackson was then protected by other security people that came and went, and he wound up with this guy who has direct connections to Diddy's blackmail operations, who was directly complicit in covering up crimes for Diddy and covering up murder, covering up use in human. This is the guy that was protecting Michael Jackson the day that he died. The day that he was overdosed on after he was probably already asleep, and the only witnesses, there were no witnesses to the crime. I'm honestly kind of surprised that this guy never got checked into as a suspect.
And then Ian also mentioned that Fahim might have connections to intelligence agencies, and now fans are speculating that he could be another one of those celebrity handlers, similar to what Kanye said about his former trainer, Harley Pasternak.
And where did I find another article about him? On Penn State, the Wharton School. He didn't attend it as a student. He was invited as a speaker for this Wharton real estate entrepreneurship event, which makes perfect sense. He has a real estate investment company or whatever, but if you've been following along, you would know that the Wharton School comes up an awful lot when we're talking about intelligence agencies and people associated with the CIA and the FBI, etc. Just thought it was interesting that they invited him to be a honored speaker at their event. And now, here's the best part. Check this out. This is in all of his bios, by the way, but we're pointing it out now. In 2008, Fahim graduated from Sacramento State University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in real estate and marketing. Okay? Do you realize what's wrong with that yet? Anything coming to mind? When did Michael Jackson die? June 25th, 2009. Jackson died from cardiac arrest caused by a propofol and benzodiazepine overdose, caused by his doctor apparently. Hold up. Hold the phone. Pause. Why is a dude who just graduated college last year with a business and real estate degree the head of security for the king of pop, for Michael Jackson, the most famous musician of all time?
Well, the streets are now speculating that Diddy was allegedly some sort of handler for Fahim. Isn't it strange that one of the last people to see Michael alive also ended up working on Diddy's alleged crime network? Interesting, right? Well, the leaked documents now claim that Fahim has allegedly agreed to testify against Diddy. He will allegedly give his testimony in exchange for an immunity deal. Allegedly, he has some tea on how Diddy profited from Michael's death and has been hiding the truth ever since. If you think that's crazy, it's about to get crazier, because he also allegedly did the same thing to Prince. When they said Hollywood is a dog-eat-dog world, they were not joking. See, Prince was never afraid to speak out about the darker side of the music industry. He openly talked about how artists were often taken advantage of through unfair contracts, manipulation, and shady business practices. Because of this, it's not surprising that he chose to stay away from people like Diddy and his bestie, Jay-Z. Lately, as rumors about Diddy's wild parties continue to spread, some fans are starting to see Prince's famous 3121 parties in a new light. Many now believe that Prince was trying to create a more positive and safe environment, one where artists and industry insiders could connect through creativity, not chaos. His events focused on real music, genuine support, and community, without the toxic behavior often found elsewhere in the industry. Prince was always in the know, staying 10 steps ahead of everyone. And now fans are left wondering, was his passing really just an accidental overdose, as we've been told? Or was it a case of the industry trying to silence him, seeing him as a major threat to their system, like Michael Jackson and Sony, Prince also had major issues with his label, Warner Brothers. For years, Prince fans have believed that Warner wasn't just trying to control his music, they were trying to break his spirit. Many people have pointed out a pattern in the industry where major labels like Warner seem to turn against artists once they become too influential, too independent, or too difficult to control. There's been ongoing discussion about how some of music's biggest names like Sam Cooke, Michael Jackson, and Whitney Houston met tragic ends under circumstances that still raise questions. Things escalated even further in 1995 when Prince made a bold statement by appearing in public with the word slave written across his face. This was his way of openly declaring that he felt like a slave to Warner Brothers, who owned not just his music and masters, but also his identity as Prince. Prince started speaking out about the dangers of signing away your art to big corporations, calling the music industry a modern-day form of slavery.
I had searched deep within my heart and spirit, and I wanted to make a change and move to a new plateau in my life. And one of the ways in which I did that was to change my name. It sort of divorced me from the past and all the hang-ups that go along with it.
In another interview, Prince said, Warner Brothers took the name, trademarked it, and used it as the main marketing tool to promote all the music that I wrote. The company owns the name Prince. I became merely a pawn used to produce more money for Warner Brothers. Some believe that Warner was determined to hold on to Prince's catalog for as long as possible, not just because it was worth a lot of money, but because his independence challenged the entire system. If Prince could prove that an artist could succeed without relying on a traditional record label, it might encourage others to do the same. That kind of realization could break the control the industry has long held over artists.
But I also have the impression now that slave is not anymore on your cheek here, that you feel fresh, new, more funky, more inspired?
Yes, sir, very
How
much.
come?
Well, once you free yourself from all contractual binds, you make music differently in the studio. You're not thinking about working for someone, thinking about just creating for God.
Yeah, that's important.
That's very important.
In 2007, Prince took another bold step to reclaim control of his music in the digital age by announcing plans to sue YouTube, eBay, and the Pirate Bay for using his music without permission. Around the same time, Prince pulled his music from all major streaming platforms, choosing to keep it exclusively on Jay-Z's Tidal. At first, he believed Jay-Z was truly committed to supporting independent artists and protecting creative freedom. But, like many others, Prince soon realized that Jay-Z's main focus was profit. In 2015, Prince found himself in yet another struggle with powerful figures in the industry, this time with Jay-Z himself. What started as a hopeful partnership with Tidal, a platform that claimed to offer artists more control and a fairer share of revenue, quickly turned into a disappointment. Jay-Z wasn't just looking for Prince's public support, he was aiming for full ownership of Prince's entire music catalog to use on Tidal. Prince refused the offer because he was unwilling to hand over control of his life's work. After Prince's untimely death in 2016, the situation escalated. His estate accused Roc Nation of trying to capitalize on his passing by using his music without proper permission. Roc Nation argued that they had the rights, but Prince's team strongly disagreed, which led to a legal battle against Jay-Z. Although Prince had only given Tidal permission to stream his hit-and-run album for a limited 90-day window, after his passing, the platform began streaming his entire back catalog, something he had never agreed to. Jay-Z, meanwhile, showed no hesitation in claiming ownership. He even publicly boasted about having control over Prince's masters, even though Prince had never officially handed them over to Tidal. Just a month after Prince's death, Jay-Z released a verse on the remix of Fat Joe and Remy Ma's All the Way Up, rapping, "Prince left his masters where they safe and sound. We never gonna let the elevator take him down." For many fans, the line came off as bold and insensitive, especially given the ongoing legal dispute with Prince's estate. Now, here's where things get even shadier. Prince died almost exactly 2 years after he had regained control of his masters from Warner Music. On April 18, 2014, it was announced that Prince had officially reclaimed ownership of his iconic catalog. Then, almost 2 years to the day later, on April 21st, 2016, he was found dead in an elevator at his Paisley Park home. Prince's death was officially ruled an accidental overdose. According to the police report, he thought he was taking Vicodin to manage ongoing pain. Unfortunately, the pills were fake and had been laced with fentanyl, a powerful and dangerous opioid, which ultimately led to his passing.
Hours after announcing a decision not to file charges in Prince's death, authorities released documents and video of his last days. Among the evidence, pictures from Paisley Park on the day Prince died, showing pills and a Bayer bottle authorities say contained the deadly counterfeit Vicodin.
Unfortunately, the subject counterfeit Vicodin pills are an exact imitation of real Vicodin pills, but the counterfeit pills contain the potentially deadly opioid fentanyl.
Given all the unusual circumstances surrounding Prince's death, it wasn't long before fans began questioning the official story. Fans started to suspect that it may not have been a simple accident, that someone could have intentionally given him the laced pills. Even some industry insiders shared those concerns. Kanye West, for example, publicly expressed doubts about the official narrative. He went as far as to suggest that both Prince and Michael Jackson were murdered, and hinted that he too had narrowly escaped a similar fate. He shared a photo of Prince with the word slave written on his face and captioned it, "Let's get it big, bro. You and Michael pass so we can live." So, what does this have to do with Diddy? Well, remember Prince's long-term battle with Warner? Well, the primary reason Prince kept his distance from him was due to Diddy's close ties with Warner while Prince was fighting for his independence. In 2005, Diddy announced a joint venture between Bad Boy Records and Warner Music Group. At the time, Leor Cohen, chairman and CEO of U.S. Recorded Music for Warner, and a close friend of Jay-Z, expressed excitement about the partnership, stating, "We're thrilled to welcome Sean and Bad Boy Records to the Warner Music fold. We believe Sean's entrepreneurial spirit and willingness to push the envelope creatively will be a perfect fit for Warner Music Group. The Bad Boy name has not only stood for hip-hop music for more than a decade, but has evolved into a unique and vital brand." Diddy responded in a statement saying, "I am thrilled to be working with Leor Cohen and the entire WMG family. It was important for me to have the opportunity to grow Bad Boy, and I can do that with WMG. This is a perfect situation for me and Bad Boy, and I can't wait to get out there and continue making music history." Now, if you're not familiar with Leor Cohen, he's the man who openly admitted to signing artists who promote substance use, fully aware of the negative impact this has on the community.
One of the biggest artists you ever had had a real bad problem, DMX.
I'm so sad. DMX thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
You don't think that's hypocritical though? You're saying the
it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him. So you bring his name up. I don't even know him. So
y'all made a lot of money together.
Come
on, Leo. Don't do that to him.
I don't know him. I really don't. So, I don't know what to tell you. I won't be complicit.
Apart from Diddy's business ties to Warner and Leor Cohen, two industry giants Prince had openly warned others about. There's another theory making the rounds about why Prince kept his distance from Diddy. Some believe it wasn't just about business, but something deeper and more personal that made Prince stay away. According to some insiders, Once Prince found out about what really went on at Diddy's infamous freak-off parties, he decided to take action in his own way. That's when he began hosting his now legendary 3,121 parties. These invite-only events were created as a safe space for artists, far away from the toxic energy and shady dealings of the industry. At these gatherings, artists could connect, collaborate, and exchange creative ideas without any interference from label executives or industry politics. Some believe Prince saw these parties as his way of offering a healthier, more uplifting alternative to the disturbing scenes reportedly happening at Diddy's events. Prince also made a point to keep his distance from Diddy, so much so that there's only one known photo of them together, and that was purely by chance when they were seated next to each other at the 2007 NBA All-Star Game. When it comes to Prince's views on both Jay-Z and Diddy, many fans see this as further proof that he was ahead of his time, trying to sound the alarm about the very people and issues that are now dominating headlines. Some fans have also pointed to the unsettling timing of his death, which happened just months after the title dispute. Adding to the speculation is the caption on what would be his final post: "Just when you thought you were safe." As bad as this all has been, there are reports that the feds have even more damaging information about Diddy's alleged involvement with Prince and Michael Jackson, claiming that it shows a pattern of behavior relevant to his ongoing court case. However, Diddy's lawyers are reportedly trying to get this struck out of court, saying that it has no bearing on his racketeering and case. It's going to be interesting to watch this all play out, but in the meantime, I want to know how y'all feel about this drama. Drop your thoughts in the comments and then check out this next video.